Good afternoon, you're watching Lunchtime News here on TV1. This is News First, where the people come first. I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. We start off with a look at your headlines.
Sale of fuel from police filling stations suspended. Thousands of Sri Lankans still in line for fuel. Gas distribution to commence today. President at National War Heroes Day. CID records statements from 3 more government MPs on attacks on peaceful protests. Gammadha announces partnership with 2 major US universities.
In your lead story this afternoon, the 13th National War Heroes commemoration was held at the Battaramulla National War Heroes Memorial today. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had presided over the event.
The event was organized to pay tribute and respect to the war heroes who laid down their lives to end 30 years of civil war and establish lasting peace throughout the country. The ceremony was attended by Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne, Chief of Defence Staff and Commander of the Army Shavindra Silva and other Tri-Forces commanders.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says it has stopped selling fuel to parliamentarians from the police filling station. The decision was made after reports emerged that fuel is being sold at lower prices.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation doesn't sell fuel at a lower price. We are not selling fuel by incurring losses. Based on a request made by the Speaker to the IGP, fuel was sold to some institutions from the police garage. But we have stopped that now.
Speaker Mahinda Yapavewardena has requested the police chief to sell fuel from the Narahempita police filling station for the parliamentarians. This was revealed by the opposition lawmaker Talathathu Korala. News First reported on this story last night. All 225 parliamentarians are in danger. A request has been made to the police chief to sell fuel to everyone. People are in queue under the scorching heat and even during rains to buy fuel. Why is a request being made to sell fuel only to parliamentarians? At a time when there are many issues in the country, they will push us all into the Diyavanna lake. The price indicated in one of the fuel pumps at the filling station stirred an uproar among the people this morning. The matter came up for discussion during parliamentary sittings this morning. In a statement, police said they received instructions to sell fuel at their filling station under the current fuel prices. Officials took steps to readjust the price at the pump amidst heavy security.
Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijayasekara says that posts shared on MPs being given subsidized fuel rates are false. In his statement to Parliament, the minister said The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has never sold fuel to any MPs at a price less than the market rates on any occasion. Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara slammed Sri Lanka police for not updating the said gasoline pump or the dispenser in 3 to 4 years. He told that the rate of 121 rupees is what existed several years ago, adding that the said filling station was instructed to stop selling fuel upon payment by cash. Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara added that an investigation will be carried out for not updating the said gasoline pump or the dispenser. Moving on, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says it began unloading a petrol shipment today. Authorities have requested people to avoid being queued to buy fuel for 3 days. But there are long lines in many areas as people try to carry out their work.
People who have been in line at a filling station near the flyover on Baseline Road from yesterday held a protest demanding fuel. The movement of vehicles from Sri Saddharma Mawatha towards Maligawatha has been affected. Tensions flared at the Urugodawatha filling station where people have been in queue since last night. People accused the police of trying to send them away after the filling station had run out of stocks.
We have been here since last night to buy some petrol. They should have rationed the sale of petrol. It was not done and now they have run out of petrol. But suddenly the police jeep from the Grand Pass police pumped fuel and left.
The officer in charge of the Grand Pass police told Newsfirst he was not aware of any such attack and that the allegations would be investigated. People held a protest demanding fuel by blocking a lane at the Devila junction. None of the 3 petrol stations in Horana sold petrol this morning. Only 1 filling station sold super diesel.
In headline-making news this afternoon, state-run Litrogas Lanka Limited says it will take about 6 weeks to end the gas shortage. The company says there is a shortage of about 3.5 million gas cylinders in the market.
State-run Litrogas Lanka Limited says it plans to distribute 35,000 gas cylinders to the market today. A cargo carrying 3,900 metric tons of gas had reached the country this morning. The cylinders will be released after conducting quality checks. Litrogas Lanka Limited says cities like Colombo will be given preference when supplying gas.
16-year-olds in Sri Lanka have the right to receive proper education instead of going to work. However, this is not the case for some children.
All 16-year-olds in Sri Lanka are considered to be children and share equal rights. Children have the right to be protected from all forms of labor and to receive proper education. But unlike many of his fellow brothers and sisters, this 16-year-old in Mahayangania is plucking coconuts to feed his family. His father was killed by political supporters in a dispute that broke out when distributing relief packs at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. As the son plucks coconuts, his 11-year-old sister skips school and scrapes them to earn to feed the family. Instead of only looking after her 4-year-old child, the mother has to babysit her neighbor's child to make a living. Life would have been different for these children if the life of their father had not been snatched away by political henchmen. For them, the future is uncertain.
Sri Lanka's Gammadda movement announced today that it had finalized partnerships with the Watson Institute at Brown University and the Clinton School at the University of Arkansas for the year 2022. Both graduate and undergraduate students will work with Gammadda on carefully selected projects as part of an academic program.
Brown University, established in 17 talented applicants from both universities.
For many decades, the village of Palugaswava has been suffering due to the lack of access to clean drinking water. Today, Gammadha stepped in to provide them with a feeling of hope.
For many years, people of Maitri Gama in Anuradhapura have battled with kidney diseases due to the lack of clean drinking water. About 700 families in the village that depend on farming have been consuming water containing harmful chemicals. Their repeated pleas for a basic right, which is access to clean drinking water, fell to the deaf ears of many officials. Gammadha then stepped in to create a sense of hope for these people. A Sri Lankan woman in the US who witnessed the plight of the people in Palugaswava stepped in to donate a water purification system to the village. The foundation stone was laid today to coincide with the birthday of the late chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, R. Rajamahendran, who founded Gammadha.
Jagat Samaravikrama was sworn in as a parliamentarian today. He fills the void created in Parliament after the death of government parliamentarian Amarakirti Atakorala. The Election Commission has gazetted his name as the replacement. Moving on, the Criminal Investigations Department has recorded statements from 3 parliamentarians on attacks on peaceful protests last week. The CID recorded statements from parliamentarians Rohita Abegunavadana, C.B. Ratnayaka and Sanjeeva Edirimana over the attack on peaceful protests last week. Police spokesperson SSP Nihal Taldua told Newsfirst that statements are to be recorded from another 4 parliamentarians. More details on this story will be available on our website www.newsfirst.lk. In more local news, protests at Goldface Green opposite the President's office in Colombo entered its 41st day today. People are demanding President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to step down. The protesters say they would not end the demonstration until they win their demands. Meanwhile, Sri Lankans held a protest opposite the French Foreign Ministry yesterday. They opposed the Sri Lankan government and the attack on peaceful protests in Sri Lanka. Another phase of the Divya Savya program to distribute dry rations among families in need was held in the Matale district today. The Divya Savya program, sponsored by LOLC Holdings, aims at supporting low-income families in many parts of Sri Lanka.
Today marks the 9th day of the Divya Savya program aimed at supporting the low-income families. 2 separate teams distributed essential goods to people living in the Matale district today.
Shifting your attention to news overseas, the United Nations has warned that Russia's invasion of Ukraine can cause global food shortages in the coming months.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that the Russian invasion of Ukraine can lead to famine.
But let's be clear, there is no effective solution to the food crisis without reintegrating Ukraine's food production, as well as the food and fertilizer produced by Russia and Belarus, into world markets despite the war.
The UN says the world could face famines that last for years if Ukrainian exports are not restored to pre-war levels. The UN chief has warned that there is no effective solution to the food crisis without reintegrating Ukraine's food production into the global market.
Well, that's a wrap of this edition of Lunchtime News here on News First, where the people come first. I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Have yourself a very good day.